Okay, guys. So in this video, let's learn a little bit more options of copy. Yeah. So I've got a couple of transistors and a bunch of metal strips over here. So let's talk about this. So now, if at all I want to repeat a similar kind of routing in multiple places, and I don't want to put an extra effort to reroute it again and again. Okay, what I would do is I would prefer to create a group out of a routing. Okay, I'll route something in a localized area and then I will try to reuse that again and again. We'll see that feature in a while. But then let me just try to show you how do I copy this multiple times in or should I say how do I create an array out of this bunch of drawing over here. So let me just select this. I'm just selecting two pieces of metal here and say create a group. Okay. Now I want a array of this group at a specific distance. So what I would do is click on this, copy, F3. If you see here in the copy section, right, I will click on array and I will say that I need 2 rows and 3 columns. And I want to space them apart by 0.5 micron each, which means horizontally there will be 0.5 micron and vertically there will be a spacing of 0.5 micron. I want to retain the connectivity. Okay, but here I am not doing a synchronous copy. I just want to show you the difference between doing such things. Okay, so here I am just trying to create an array of this 2 rows and 3 columns, spacing them apart by 0.5 microns in X and Y direction. But I'm also copying the connectivity. So I'll just click apply. I'll just double click on this apply. There you go. So if you see here, this is 0.5 micron. Okay, the spacing which we mentioned. And this again is your 0.5 micron. If you see here, all of these groups, okay, there'll be a specific numbering given by the tool. Group 0, group 0 underscore 0, 0 underscore 1, because this is your initial, a kind of a mother routing what you do, and these are the subsets of that. You can consider it that way. Okay, this is being derived from this. That's why it's 0 underscore 0, 0 underscore 1, and that's how it goes. Now, all of these groups are independent of each other, which means what? If you observe, the connectivity has been copied, but if I have to edit any of this, none of the other groups will get impacted. So just to do that, I'll just select this, I'll press X, I'll enter into this group and I will stretch this line. Okay. And if you observe here, none of the other groups are impacted. I'll just come out of this, I'll press Shift B. Okay. So if at all you want to have a similar routing and you don't want the other groups to get impacted if you're editing one of their whole group sets, then you can just copy the connectivity or you can just leave it as is. If at all you want to have a scenario wherein you want to copy the groups, but at the same time you want to ensure that if at all you're doing a routing in one region, all the other groups should get impacted. In a scenario like that, we will select something called as synchronous copy. I'll try to repeat the same thing, but I will select something called as synchronous copy. So to do that, I will just delete this guy. Select, copy, let's see, F3. Over here, I'll copy connectivity as well as I'll copy synchronous copy. For a change, let me make 2 cross 4 over here. Okay, I'll just double click this. Okay, in this case, 2 rows and 4 columns. Now, in here, because I selected synchronous copy, what happens is all of these become clone of each other. It's kind of a cloning of a group is happening over here. Okay, I'll click on this. If I want to enter this, I get a message saying that you are trying to enter a clone. All of these are clones. Okay, if I make an edit into any one of these, all the others will get impacted. So I'll say, okay, it's okay for me to go ahead and edit. So now it gives me an option to edit. I'll go here, click on one. I'll stretch this. If you observe here, all other 4 clones or synchronous groups are edited now. So this comes in very, very handy when you have to do some routing, some specific routing, a symmetrical routing if you have to do. That's where this kind of feature, along with the connectivity, comes in very handy. So if at all you don't say select connectivity, right, even then the synchronicity will still remain. Okay, this is just to ensure that you're copying the nets with the connectivity. If you want to copy the nets without the connectivity, that is also okay, but nets will remain synchronous. That option is also available. Just press undo, say Control D, and copy. So now, where is this application useful for us? Okay, so now to demonstrate that, what I would do here is, let me just select all of this, click on this, I'll just delete this. Okay, so I'll just pull up these three transistors here, place it. Now, I don't want to route specifically on each of this. Okay, so I just want to do routing only on one, and I want to ensure that all of this is intact. Okay, say for example, over here, let me just, for the sake, let me just do routing on this. Okay, I'll show you two different scenarios here. One is over here. Let me do the routing in metal 2. Okay. Let me pick up metal 2. Okay, let me make this as 0.1. Oh, sorry. 0.1. Okay, I'll make two of these, and I will draw another. Sorry. Now you see here, because my copy mode is still showing array. That's the reason I'm getting this kind of a option. So you need to come out of that, select line over here, and that's where it retains as is. And just make this as 0 and 0. Okay. Only then whatever you copy will remain as is. Else it will pick up details from this form. Okay. So what I will do here is I just copy one. Okay. And I will draw one more net at minimum width. Generally, whenever you're drawing any gate connection, it should be of the minimum width. What I'll do is I will take these guys here. So I wouldn't get into exact detail calculations here. I'm just placing them next to each other. I will just chop these guys just to give some symmetry here. I'll keep my gate exactly on this gate over here. Okay, so now I will select all of these three. I will chop it just to have some symmetrical routing. Okay, so now that I have this, I will first create a group out of it. So create group. Okay, so now let me just turn on the terminals which I want to connect. I'll just turn off everything here, M1 and M2. So I'll add a, let me enter the group first. Let's press X. So I'm inside the parameterized cell. Oh, sorry, I'm back. I'm into this itself. So if you check, okay, now I've selected a group. Let me enter the group. I'll press O, which is auto via. Click on this. One is source and one is drain. Okay, save, Control D, escape. Now what I would do here is turn poly engage. Now I want to route the same thing on multiple devices here, and I don't want to do this step again and again. So if I just do a copy, it will do it. I'm just trying to show what are the ways in which you can utilize the feature of copying and synchronous copy. Now, if at all I just want to copy without doing a synchronous copy, I just click over here. Okay. I just align this M1 with M1. Now these two routes are independent of each other, even though they are similar connections. They are independent of each other. Okay. So now, in case if I want to make them synchronous, whatever edits I do in this, the routes also should be affected in here when I'm doing the routes. So what I would do here is, let's say copy, click F3. I will click on synchronous copy. Click hide. Now I will place it over here. I'll just align this guy here. Same thing, copy F3. I'm copying a synchronous clone over here. So automatically the cloning will be copied here. So now what happens, if at all I want to make edits to any of these connections, if I want to make edits in any of these connections, I enter to this, it will tell me this is a clone family. Now I will stretch this guy. Automatically you see these gates also are getting stretched internally. Okay, that's where creating groups help you. That's where creating synchronous groups will help you. Okay, so now that's how you can route your designs much faster. In here, what I will do is, just for the sake of explanation, I'll delete this. I'll just share these guys, okay? Quickly, and try to show you how best you can utilize this feature over here. Source. Let me just copy these three devices. Okay, flip. Okay, so I've just got this 6 devices here, and now I will copy these guys again on top. If I have to do a routing for a whole array, you could come across scenarios wherein you may have to do copying for larger devices, maybe stacked devices, or maybe say your switches, right? So that's where this kind of routing comes in handy. So I'm just showing you here a template on how to fasten up your routing using all the copy options what we went through in the previous video and this one. So in here, if you see here, this is a group. I'll just enter this. Okay, I will stretch all of these guys till the other end. Let me turn on the other layers also so that I have some idea. JX, okay. Stretch here till the end of JX. Ideally, even if you keep it till here, it's okay, but I'm just dragging it just for the sake of explanation, okay? So M1 minus CCA. I need M1 and M2, okay? So now we know that one is odd even, so I'll click here, click here, click here, click here, and all the gates are connected. Okay, so now I need to replicate the same connection over here. So what I would do, I just go here, deactivate the selection of instances so that it doesn't disturb when I'm copying the routing in fact. So what I would do here is I will click on this. Okay, I'll use multiple features here. Okay, so I will do a synchronous copy. First thing I'll show using synchronous copy. So copy F3. Click on synchronous copy. Click. I will take a reference point of this edge of poly. Okay. Click. I will exactly go and place it over here. Again, copy. This creating a synchronous copy over here. So now I will not do this again and then again. Click here. Okay. So now if you see here, in one shot, you ended up doing routing for 24 transistors. You don't have to waste your time trying to make connections for each and every transistors. Click on this, any of the group here, press X, it will say that you are trying to edit a clone. I click OK. Now if I try to edit any of the routes here, you can see that it is being reflected in all the groups. This is how you make use of cloning feature or synchronous copy or nothing but another alternative to cloning to do your routes. Okay, so press undo. And now the other option here is, let me just delete this guys. The other way I would like to show you is, okay, I would say recursive copy F3. and I'll say create a synchronous copy. Okay, hide. Now what I would do here is I'll click at this point from where I want to copy. Once I will click at this point, exactly at that point where I want to drop this. I'm still in the copy mode here. Okay, now I will just press dot. Okay, again a dot, again a dot. The more number of dots I press, more number of synchronous groups get copied. So here I've used recursive copy with synchronous copy option. Now even here, if I have to, I can select any of these groups, get into this. If I see, again, this is also a clone because I did a recursive copy, but I also copied the synchronous copy option. I also selected the synchronous copy option. I just chop this just for the sake of it. See here, everything is getting changed. Okay, that's how you take advantage of the copy options. There are many more options which you can play around, but generally whatever we use the most is what I've tried to explain over here in this video. Try to follow this video, try to practice on this, and try to develop your layout editing skills. Thank you.